The air conditioner was on in the car. As Lu Jinian was afraid Qiao Anhao would catch a cold while sleeping, he grabbed a blanket from the side and pulled it over her. Qiao Anhao felt Lu Jinian draw closer. Her whole body stiffened, and her hands balled into fists. She could only calm down after he had moved away. After a while, she heard him say to his assistant driving in the front, "Turn down the aircon a little." Deep down inside, Qiao Anhao knew she had her suspicions, but because of how considerate Lu Jinian was towards her, she started lying to herself. For Lu Jinian to care about her so attentively, how could he be so harsh as to abort her child? What's more, the child was his. They say even wild beasts look after their young. No matter how cold Lu Jinian was, she wasn't the woman he loved. Yet he shouldn't be that cruel. But when the nurse showed Qiao Anhao her phone, it really was Lu Jinian's assistant's name on her wire transfers log. It was from the bank's systems. It couldn't possibly have been faked. Because Qiao Anhao liked Lu Jinian, her heart wasn't willing to accept such a devastating truth, and so she started to kid herself and find excuses for him. The hospital clearly didn't have her abortion records, nor did she know that nurse. How could she just take her words seriously, and believe that Lu Jinian aborted her child? Furthermore, who's to say she was even pregnant in the first place? So she should ask Lu Jinian. The reason Lu Jinian went to find Qiao Anhao today wasn't to take her to the lunch date, but to take her to the hospital for a follow-up. He didn't want her to know that she once had a child. Not to mention, when they found out about the child, someone had already killed the baby while still in her belly. What's more, the culprit was someone she considered as family, her Aunt Xu, and Rushu. He wasn't able to be a good father, so now he was filled with hate and thirst for vengeance, and he chose to bear the burden for her as well. And so, last night, he thought of a way for Qiao Anhao not to find out the truth and go to the hospital. He told his assistant the plan in advance. As the assistant was about to reach the city hospital, he looked up at the rearview mirror and met Lu Jinian's eyes. Seeing Lu Jinian slightly nod his head, he immediately understood everything. He checked the condition of the roads left and right, then as he was about to exit the main road ahead, he turned the steering wheel to the left. The car crashed into a fence by the road out of the blue. Qiao Anhao was torn for a long time, before she got the courage to open her eyes. She took a deep breath and opened her mouth, ready to ask Lu Jinian. But in the end, just as the word Lu was about to leave her throat, the car suddenly shook. Out of the blue, her body smashed into the car door. As everything had happened so suddenly, Qiao Anhao's mind was still confused. Before she could figure out what had happened, Lu Jinian had pulled her over, and worriedly looked her up and down. He anxiously asked, "Are you all right?" Qiao Anhao composed herself, but before she could speak up, he angrily lashed out at the assistant driving up front, "Do you even know how to drive?" Lu Jinian's screaming made the assistant apologize frantically. With a cold expression, Lu Jinian silently pushed open the car door and carefully carried Qiao Anhao out. He stopped a taxi on the road and walked over to it.